Hello, this is Reverend Ken Wilcox of the Center for Spiritual Living here in beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. I'm coming to you today again to share with you my ideas and prayers for what's happening in Ukraine. I'm sure many of you are like me and are very disturbed about what we're seeing. I understand there are reports today that the Russians are using cluster bombs. And these are bombs that are so horrific that they're banned by most civilized nations. I heard the Dalai Lama speak about this war, this invasion, and he said this was the end of these kinds of wars. He said this represented what was the wars of last century. The new century that we're in now would be a time of negotiation and understanding and compassion, where we see each other as equal citizens in the world, all trying to do our best. I also think that what's happening is the last gasp of a toxic masculinity that we have witnessed among some of our world leaders the past decade or so. You see this person, Mr. Putin, and you see this image of him. This is not an image of a strong leader. This is an image of a fearful person, an isolated person, a scared person. This is an image of someone who didn't get the love they needed at some critical part of their lives and are now taking that hostility out on a defenseless nation. If you want to have an example of a person who has stepped up into their power and strength as a human, look no further than the president of Ukraine, Mr. Zelensky. He spoke yesterday at the European conference, and when he was finished, they rose and gave him a standing ovation. At one point, his translator became so emotional about what Mr. Zelensky was saying that he choked up. And what Zelensky was saying is that the Ukrainians have a right. They have a right to see their children grow and thrive. So, as people of faith, what can we do? I mentioned in my last video that we need to do our prayer work, to pray that the people of the Ukraine are protected, that they're getting the supplies that they need for the refugees, over 600,000 of them so far, that they get what they need to protect their homeland. But let's also go even further. Let's do prayer work for the Russians. I've been following the story about the convoy that's reaching its way to Kyiv, 40 miles long. And they say the Russians are having trouble because the equipment is breaking down and they're running out of gas. But they also suspect that some of the Russian soldiers are sabotaging their own efforts. Let's do prayers to see those Russian soldiers waking up and seeing the Ukrainians not as their enemy, but as a mirror of their own families, their wives, their children, their mothers, their fathers. And let's envision the Russian people waking up. In World War II, they suffered cataclysmic damages and loss of life when St. Petersburg was circled and Stalingrad. Let's let those memories well up in their national soul and call out to them to stop this insanity, to get their government to wake up to a better idea. Now that's the work we can do in prayer. But we're also called to do what we can with what's right in front of us. So this Sunday at the Center for Spiritual Living here in St. Augustine, we will be giving a tithe to some of the refugee groups that are helping the refugees coming from the Ukraine. And there'll be a link below in the description of this video about how you can donate to those as well. But for right now, let us do our work in prayer. So I'm going to say this prayer in the first person. Take it in for yourself. If I say something that works for you, hold tight to that. If I say something that doesn't work for you, just let it slide by. But just know this truth with me today. There is but one God and one mind and one power. That power is perfect love. It's divine intelligence. That power is perfect peace. So here now, I am at peace. I radiate the peace of God from my soul. I envision a world at peace. I envision the Russian soldiers dropping their arms and returning to their nation. I envision the Russian people knowing something better about themselves. And I see the Ukrainians protected. I see their families being reunited. I see their cities whole and safe. I know that even though I can't see it right now, God in Spirit is at work, bringing about a brand new day of great possibilities, a day of sisterhood and brotherhood, where we link arms and where we know the truth about ourselves, that we're all children of God, and that we have a right to live in peace and to watch our children grow and thrive. It's what we've been called to do, and we can step up and do this. This is my truth. I celebrate this right knowing, and I release this prayer into the mind of God to do its good and perfect, bold and dynamic work, returning to me multiplied abundantly. And together we say, and so it is. All right, my dear friends, I'm going to leave you with one last idea. That idea is that your life is not a problem to be solved. It's a miracle unfolding. Your job is to name your miracle, proclaim your miracle, and to make it your own. God bless us all. Now let us go be the miracle God is calling us to be. This is Reverend Ken. Until we see each other again, many blessings.